What is up, my friends? Welcome. Complete set review. Modern Horizons 3. All the cards constructed, limited. We do white, blue, black, and red. Now it's time for green. Miss those are on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, please take a second and go like, comment, subscribe. Do the things. Hit the buttons. Pop up. Where are you? Pop up. There it is. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the things. Do the buttons. Support the content. I appreciate you all. Don't forget, of course, 10 new brews going to be tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow in Arena, Friday in Modern. Check that out. Of course, we have Bronze Mythic next week as well. All coming up, folks. All right, so I'm excited for it, and you should be too. Before we get started, though, I got to remind you all, we are brought to you by Elgato. Proud Elgato partner. That's how I do this. All right? And multiple stream decks. I got the face cam. I got the key lights. And I got more I want to use. Right? I got my new computer. I get to use this thing soon, which I'm very excited about as well. The Stream Deck Plus. And Elgato partner, damn proud of it. It's how I do everything in my content. I'd be lost on my stream decks, completely lost. So if you do content, if you work from home, you're looking for great gear, and it's easy to use, check them out, elgato.com. Use the link in the description or link in chat, please. I do track that link to sponsor me. And ZZ-Gym5, 5% off on most items as well. Check them out, elgato.com, Elgato partner, and damn proud of it. Green, let's go. First card, Annoyed Allosaur. Just a pissed off dinosaur. This is a new to Modern card, a reprint from a set not in Modern from Commander, I believe. 5 mana for a 6/5 Reach Trample with Cascade. Wasn't this a common? Isn't this a pauper card, right? I'm not sure. But obviously not for constructed. For limited, this card is honestly only okay. 5 mana for a 6/5 Reach Trample with Cascade is... I mean, it can be good, right? But if you get like a 2-drop or whatever, like, you're not really getting 7 mana worth of value out of that. So it's an okay limited card. It's fun, pretty sweet, not the most exciting, but 7's a lot. If this card costs 6 as opposed to 5/5, we'd be talking. That'd be awesome. But 7 mana for a 6/5. Basking Brood Scale is next. No awards, but this is a pretty powerful card. 2 mana for a Eldrazi Lizard with Devoid. Has Adapt 1. Adapt means to spend the mana. And if it has no counters on it, you get to add a counter. And whenever one or more counters are put onto this, you may make a spawn token. Spawn token's extra mana. This is a combo piece, folks. Obviously, this is a fine limited card, right? This is actually a very, very good draft common. But this is a combo piece in Modern that combos with Rosy Cotton, right? So Rosy Cotton, whenever you put a counter on Rosy, you get a food. Whenever you get a... or no, I don't know. I don't have the combo. I can't think off the top of my head. Rosy, right? Rosy Cotton. Basically, it just loops, and you get infinite triggers and infinite size creature because you put counters on it. And, yeah. And I was a Heliod too. I don't know. It's just a dumb combo card. There's a bajillion unbounded dumb combo cards in this set because that's what Modern is, you know? And normally I try and stay away from that in standard sets, but this set they're like, whatever, it's a Modern is, who cares? You know, so, but yeah, so, cool card. Obviously a rate limited card. Definitely a card to watch for in Modern in these combo decks if they have any legs, and figuring out what they are exactly would be a big deal. But card's good. Birthing Ritual. 2 mana for enchantment. Beginning of your end step. If you control a creature, look top 7 cards of your library. Then you may sacrifice a creature, and if you do, you may put a creature mana value X or less from among those cards on the battlefield, where X is 1 plus sacrifice creature's mana value. Rest of the bottom of the library in a random order. This is a fixed birthing pod. Okay? So, rather than getting your whole deck to look at, you only get the top 7 cards. However, this is obviously much cheaper. It's only a 2 mana enchantment. And it's also on your end step, so you can use it immediately, which is kind of cool. That being said, is top 7 cards, is not being able to tutor like Birthing Pod worth playing this kind of effect? Not sure, honestly, you know. You get to size up here every turn, which is kind of cool. You know, you sack a 4-drop, you get a 5-drop in theory. But again, you might miss. Top 7 cards might just miss the card you want entirely, which is kind of rough too. So, you do get to look and then like may sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice a creature and get screwed. But like, if you're not getting what you want, you're not happy with the card, right? So I don't know. It's a pretty powerful card. But that being said, it's a huge build around, requires a lot of work to build around. And we'll see. I'm not totally sold just yet, but we'll see. And then limited, not really what you're trying to be doing, honestly. Unless you have some major sack stuff, which would not be a thing. So, Branching Evolution is next. We have a 3-mana enchantment. If one or more counters be put on a creature you control, double it instead. So similar to Hardened Scales, rather than getting an extra counter, you get double the counters. So obviously, if you're only putting one counter on things, this is just Hardened Scales for 3, which is not very good. But if you're putting a lot of counters on things, this is pretty powerful. That being said, this is more of a commander card, right? Like, this sort of, like, unbounded, like, super top end, but not very cheap card is perfect for commander, where you want to scale up and kill everyone. But in a more efficient format like Limited, this is just a joke compared to Hardened Scales. So I think this card's pretty much a blank constructed, honestly. In Limited, this card might play, because there is a lot of counter stuff happening in the Abzan colors, but even then, I'm not sure. So more of a commander card, more of a go big card. Bridgeworks Battle, our first MDFC in... Oh, it's a reprint, actually. I'm sorry. This is a new to modern card from a Jumpstart set. I didn't know that, so there you go. Bridgeworks Battle, our first green MDFC, forces our lands in the back, and the land also can enter untapped to pay 3, similar to the mythic lands from Zendikar. And this one is +2/+2, and then fight. So similar to Savage Smash, I believe is the card. Not a very powerful effect on the front side, but as an MDFC, this is obviously a great limited card. Constructed, probably not. I mean, maybe, you know, like the opportunity cost is pretty low, but like I'm not sure what modern deck would want this card in theory. Honestly, maybe like Boggles. If you're playing Boggles and you have like an 8/8 lifelinker, this is a pretty sick effect. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, MDFC, not a great card, but obviously low opportunity cost, so could want that. Next up is Collective Resistance. Mana for an instant. Escalate green. So you can pay 1 green as many times as you want to keep choosing abilities. And this is a disenchant, kill artifact, or an enchantment, or can give a creature hexproof and indestructible to end of turn. And the problem here is that, like, typically protection spells are good when they're cheap. A card like Snakeskin Veil or whatever is awesome because it costs 1. It's easy to leave up. This one costs 2 minimum, and then probably more if you want to actually get value off of it. So I want to kill an enchantment and save my creature. That costs 3. That's kind of iffy. The good news is this can kill an artifact and an enchantment for 3 mana. So you can go, kill your Urza Saga and a token or whatever else it might be. So kind of like a fringe sideboard card. It can do a few cool things here and there. It's at its floor naturalized, which is fine. So card's fine. Good sideboard card. Not quite pick your poison, Colossal Dreadmask. Yeah. It's our boy. 6 mana for an equipment. It has Living Weapon. So this makes a 0/0 attached to it. Equipped creature gets +6/+6 and has trample. So it is Colossal Dreadmaw. And then you can equip it for 5, which is pretty nice, honestly. So what you're getting here is a Colossal Dreadmaw that is a modified creature for your modified stuff. And then late in the game, if it dies, you just spend 5 mana, make some random 1/1 to a 7/7. That's pretty insane, honestly. So this is a pretty powerful common. You wouldn't want a ton of these in your deck, obviously, but this card does the thing pretty well. Again, it's on theme with the modified stuff. Card's sweet. Disciple of Freyles. 6 mana, Elf Druid. Whenever ETBs, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you gain X life and draw X cards. X that creature's power. This is a pretty weird MDFC. It costs 6 mana. It's also a land in the back as well. And all these expensive MDFCs need to be aware of the fact that you can blink these and get the creature in play for on the cheap. That being said, it's kind of a weird effect, honestly, where like 6 mana for a 3/3, need to have another thing in play and want to sacrifice it, and like Disciple of Bolas is not a particularly great card, so I don't know. It's like kind of a weird card. I don't really know what you want to do with this, but Eldamari, new Elf Lord, the mana for a 3/3. You may look at top card of your library at any time and may cast creature cards top of your library. So it's Future Sight for creatures, pretty sweet. Pay green, tap, and tap 2 untapped creatures you control to reveal a card from your hand or the top card of your library. And if you reveal a creature, put it into play for free. Only during your turn, though. Sort of like a mixture of Future Sight and Elvish Piper. This is a pretty damn powerful card. Alright, having a 3/3 Future Sight for creatures in an elf deck is pretty awesome. You can just go, make a lot of mana, you're not playing a lot of lands. That's pretty awesome. And then being able to just plop down a Crater Hoof or whatever by tapping a few things is pretty awesome as well. Doesn't really solve like the problems elf decks often have of just like getting supered or whatever. But like if they play an anger, you untap and play this and just go elf, elf, go. off the top. That's pretty awesome. So pretty awesome card. I don't know if elves are going to be playable in any way, but this is quite a good elf card, and may give a little life to the archetype. Maybe probably playable in timeless and historic too. So we'll see. Good limited card too. It's a great limited card actually. Eldrazi Repurposer. 2 mana for a 3/3 devoid. Whenever you cast a spell, whenever it dies, make a Scion. Great limited card. Excellent, excellent, excellent limited card. Great way to ramp up. Blue-green is all about playing big Eldrazi and ramping and stuff. This card does that perfectly. Play it, trade, get 2 Scions, cast a 7-drop. Awesome limited card. Great. Evolution Witness. Folks, can I get a witness? Come on. What the hell is this card? How in the world is this card a common? 3 mana for a 2/1. Elf Shaman Mutant. 2 mana to adapt 2. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on this card, return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Alright, so right off the bat, card advantage, right? You can wait till turn 5, play as a 4/3, and get a card back immediately. That's great. But there are tons of ways to add counters to this without, adapting once you've already adapted and just keep getting cards back over and over again. That's insane. That's just crazy. This card is awesome. It's great in green-black. It's good in green-white. Card's just excellent. And it's even good in like a red-green deck. Whatever, just freaking play it as at face value. This card's just fine, So, yeah, card's awesome. Really good common. Not sure what to tell you, honestly. And the commons in this set are pushed super hard because it's a Modern Horizons set, and they can do that. This isn't everyday power creep. This is Modern Horizons power creep because these cards aren't going to be in standard and stuff. So, card's powerful. Card's really, really good. Bombin Common, not much more to say about it. Card's just insane. Fanatic of Voracious. This was my preview card for cool stuff. Pretty sweet. We have a 1/4 creature for 2. Taps for a green. Ferocious taps for 4 green. And can eternalize. Card's pretty sweet. I wrote an article on coolstuff.com about this card. I would encourage you to read that article and hear 1,000 words about it. But pretty cool card. Plays well with a 4/4 on turn 3. Tap, make a bunch of mana, cast Karn. Could bring Mono Green Devotion into the fray here as a possible modern deck. But can't bolt this one, which is pretty sweet also. Card's great. Good card. Needs to find a home. Not a card you just put in any deck, but a powerful card if it finds a home. This is going to be a big deal in Historic too as well. In Devotion, they're going to be a big, big deal. Fangs of Colonia. 2 mana for a sorcery. Put a counter on a creature. Then double the number of counters on each creature that had a counter put on it this way. So, 2 mana, put 2 counters on a creature. Or you can overload it for 6 and pump all your creatures twice and modify it too. Overrun effects have not been super great in limited these days because you just don't need it to push through anymore, and you're not really in a board stall anymore either. This limited is not very board stally these days, so this card seems kind of eh. If you put a counter on your witness, you get a card back. That's great. So if you're using it for stuff like that, cool. But I don't think that you really want to just use this as an overrun. So synergy card kind of cool. Plays well with all of your Golgari, add a counter, do stuff cards. But overall, a little finicky, I think, in limited. Flare of Cultivation. It's a trap. This is one of the more hyped flares. I think it's also one of the hardest to use cards. Green 1 for a Cultivate. Sacrifice a non-token green creature rather than play spell's mana cost. Alright. Gets a Cultivate. Chat's going nuts right now, by the way, too, which is great. So, yes. If you go turn 1 a Boreal Grazer, put a land into play, and then sacrifice the Boreal Grazer, yeah, that's awesome. That's great. That's wonderful. One of the important things about evaluating cards in Magic the Gathering is not looking at the best case scenario, is looking at the worst case scenario, all right? And it's not always going to work like that. And a Boreal Razor is specifically a kind of card where when things start going wrong, it gets exponentially worse. Every mulligan you take with a Grazer is terrible because you don't have an extra land in your hand to put into play, right? So now you're adding another layer of need to be able to do, this extra thing on top. So now you need to have a good 7-card hand with a land and a Grazer and this card. And if it all works out, awesome, right? If it doesn't work out though, now you're stuck. Oh no, my land came in tapped. My Grazer didn't put a land into play, whatever else it might be. So I think this card, it works really well in the Magic Christmas Land Dream scenarios. Doesn't work super well in other scenarios. And hard casting Cultivate for green 1 is completely unplayable in Modern.
Still a piece of
Not what you want to be
garbage.
doing. I think that a possible home for this card will be in sideboards of decks that are scared of Blood Moon and want a way to kind of circumvent that, which I think is a reasonable thing for sure. But overall, I think this card's pretty unexciting, despite being one of the better looking forces. I think this card's kind of eh. I think this is mostly just a sideboard card against Blood Moon. But we will see. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But there are a lot of possible options too. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm calling my trap card. Hot Take Cannon, loaded up and fired, and Flare Cultivation. And limited this card is exactly what it is. It's a Cultivate's hard to cast, which is not great because Cultivate's a splash kind of card. So like having 2 greens is not even a given. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. That's the whole fun of a set review, right? Next up is Foul Strike. Just a bird. Trying to live his life, you know? Trying to hang out, have a good day, be a bird. And this douchebag comes along and freaking just whacks him in the face. You know? Ridiculous. 2 for an instant. Destroy a flyer. Reinforce 3. So 2 for a plummet with upside. Reinforce is a pretty cool ability because it means this is a combat trick. This is almost like more of a combat trick than a plummet, because you're going to use that part more often. And then also, this cares, this helps you modify stuff too, which is kind of cool. So, reasonable card. Okay, combat trick. Not great, but fine. And then obviously you can kill some bombs stuff too. So, yeah. Fine. Fine limited card. Kind of filler, but whatever. Gift of the Viper. 1 mana instant. Put a counter, a reach counter, a death touch counter on a creature, and then untap it. I mean, this is fine. 1 mana tricks are cool and limited. You might not win the combat, but I think if you have more high toughness creatures, this card's kind of cool. This card will probably play well in the blue-green archetype, like the blue-green ramp deck, where there are a lot of 3/5s and stuff like that. So you can block it by 1/4, pump it, kill your thing with that touch, but my thing lives kind of thing. But overall, just filler, limited filler. It is cool with the cards that care about adding counters for sure, but that's a little iffy too. So. Grist, Voracious Lava. I'm not sure if it's actually a sleeper or not, but Grist is pretty wild, right? So 1 mana for a 1/2 death touch, which is honestly just a fine place to be. And again, so funny, they have to make any card they want to be playable a 1/2, not a 1/1, because a Bowmasters. So whatever. So 1/2 death touch obviously blocks super well, which is great. Whenever it or another creature EDBs under your control, if it enters from a graveyard or you cast it from a graveyard, you may pay a green. If you do, flip it. It flips over into Grist the Plague Swarm. I don't know how bugs find their spark, but whatever. 3 loyalty, plus make a creature, and if you mill a black card, give it a death touch counter, which is very, very powerful. -2 disenchant, -6 for each creature card in your graveyard, create a token as a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect. So the +1 here is just great, right? Because you're probably playing black also. So you're gonna get the death touch counter a lot of the time. And it goes to 4 loyalty and keeps making counters. That's great. So, Grist on 1, sack something on 2, whatever, play it. You could sack. I'm not sorry, sack. Recur. I apologize. We're getting to the part of the set view. I've been live for 4 hours. I'm starting to feel a little bit. But yeah, obviously this can play. He's playing Yawgmoth. If you have a Young Wolf or whatever, he sacrifices that. You could build a green-black graveyard deck with Gravecrawler and Stitch Supplier and stuff like that also. Bloodghast. I don't know exactly where it goes, but pretty powerful card. Like all of the Flipwalkers, it just has a lot going on. There's a million words in the card. It's very hard to parse, how easy is it to flip? How bad it is if it doesn't flip? Once you flip it, how good is it as a thing? So, yeah, powerful card though for sure. Sleeper card. Grist, the Plague Swarm. And limited also. And limited is it's weird because a 1/2 death touch for 1 is just a fine floor. Kind of hard to flip in limited, but the floor is fine. So moving on. 2. Horrific Assault. More crazy art. 1 mana sorcery. Creatures you control deals damage with this power to creature you don't control. Or Planeswalker. If you control an Eldrazi, gain 3 life. Good card. It's a good card for a red green or blue green Eldrazi deck. Just your kind of usual bite. Gaining 3 life here is pretty cool. It's a good solid card. Good draft card. Nothing more. Is what it is. Hydra Trainer. 2 mana for a 1/1. You may exert Hydra Trainer as attacks. Having to explain all these mechanics has been pretty mind-numbing. Exert means whenever you attack with it, you can choose to have it not untap next turn and get the ability. So you may exert this. If you do, target gets +X on a turn, where X is the number of counters on permanents you control, and has 3 mana adapt 2. This is a pretty powerful card if you're doing the modified adapty stuff. Say you have 3 creatures with counters on them, that's pretty insane. That being said, and it can pump itself too. Yeah. So, yeah, just a good limited card, honestly. Exerting is interesting. It doesn't really play well with the other modified mechanics, but adapt is good. Card beats. Solid card. Limited only, but good card. Lion Umbra. Green for an enchantment. Aura. This only enchants a modified creature. So, important to note, this is specifically good in green-white for the most part. Where if things have counters on them, I guess in green-black also. Creature gets +3/+3 and has vigilance and reach. Also has Umbra armor, where if it would be destroy the enchantment instead to keep the creature around. This discards a house. If you are playing a modified deck in green-white or green-black, this card hits super hard. Vigilance, reach, Umbra armor, all awesome, super cheap, and not hard to have a modified creature. This is a mythic level uncommon if you are in a modified deck. Extremely powerful card. In constructed, I mean, I don't think Boggles would want this card, and that's the only deck that really want a card like this, so probably not, but... Malevolent Rumble. 2 mana for a sorcery. Reveal top 4 cards of your library. Put a permanent card from among your hand, rest in the graveyard, and make an Eldrazi spawn. Interesting card if you're ramping. This is obviously a temporary ramp on turn 2 that also finds you a card and also puts cards in your graveyard. So you have a lot of things happening at once here for 2 mana. Pretty good, honestly. That being said, Eldrazi decks don't really care about their graveyard. I don't know if graveyard decks care about a Scion. There's a lot of do you care about all the parts of his card? I'm not sure. But this is a very powerful card. The mulch effect is pretty good anyway. This is an impulse / mulch / token. So cast the ring on turn 3. It's pretty cool also. So yeah, card's pretty good. Could definitely play constructed. I think a little worse than limited because there isn't much to do with the graveyard cards, but definitely a powerful card. Monstrous Vortex. 1 for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell, power 5 or greater, discover X, where X is that spell's mana value. Card's kind of cute, where you can build your deck in a manner where you have what's it called? The domain 2-drops. So you have 4 whatever thingies. What's it freaking called? The domain X3 and the territorial Kavu. And if you cast 1, you'll find another one because you're discovering 2 for another 2-drop. That's 5 that you can chain and kind of go. So it's kind of cute. That being said, it's a 4-mana enchantment. It doesn't do anything. So I don't know if that's really worth it or not, but you can do that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, fun card. Discovering is obviously fun, but 4 mana for enchantment is a pretty big deal in Modern. It's not going to happen. But cool card. As far as limited goes, I'd want to have a lot of cards power 5 or greater to play with this card. So Lightning Scale Elemental's gas. It's kind of cool. So yeah, more of a commander card, more of a fun card, but it's cool. Nightshade Dryad. 2 mana for a 1/2. Death Touch. Add a colorless or add mana of any color. Very important to have that colorless there can pay for colorless abilities for Eldrazi. This is a good card. If you're ramping, if you're in blue-green, if you're in red-green, if you need colorless mana, you're ramping. This card's excellent. Has value early, has value late, fixes your mana, fixes your colorless. Just a really solid draft card. Nothing more to say. Nyxborn Hydra. A green and an X. Bestow green X. Reach Trample. Comes up with X counters on it. And the creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it and has reach and trample. So, very good bestow creature, right? You just X is 3, 5 mana, give everything +3/+3, and then if it dies, you get a 3/3. Pretty cool. Decent mana sink. I'd probably want to be bestowing this and not casting it. It is kind of clunky. It might just be too slow for the draft format, honestly, because it's a very, very powerful draft format. But kind of a cool card. It's a mana sink. It's a modified creature, has counters, so on and so forth. It's cool. Path of Annihilation. Cool art. 4 mana for a enchantment to void. When the ETBs make 2 spawn tokens. All your Eldrazi tap for a mana of any color. Whenever you cast each spell with mana value 7 or greater, gain 4 life. So, This card's kind of gas if you're ramping really big stuff. And then also, it makes all your Scions just mana dorks, which is kind of cool as well. That being said, that's not good enough for Constructed, I don't think. But for Limited, if you're like doing the big blue-green thing, this seems reasonable enough for that. And in theory, you could like cast this with a few Eldrazi in play, and then tap those Eldrazi to cast something else, which is kind of cool too. So, kind of a cool card. Doesn't go very big. You can also tap for mana and sacrifice too. So you could cast like a 10-drop after casting this thing too. So, kind of cool. Cool card. Probably a fringe build around in Limited, nothing more. Priest of Titania. We got an old school reprint here. This card is definitely unplayable in Modern because of Bowmasters. But pretty cool, pretty powerful card. But yeah, I mean, probably not. And then in Limited, I mean, it's a mana dork, I guess. I don't know how many elves there are, but yeah, it's alright. Bowmaster's loading up, right? Primal Prayers. 4 mana for an enchantment. Whenever it ETBs, you get 2 energy. You may cast creature spells with mana value of 3 or less by paying energy, rather than paying their mana costs. You cast a spell this way, you may cast it without Flash. This is the Aloran for energy. There are a lot of possible combos with this, involving the Rogue Elephant, the 1 mana 3/4 that makes energy when it comes into play, involving the Soul Warden that makes energy when a creature comes in play, and you can keep looping and playing them over and over again, Shrieking Drake, etc., things like that. So there are certainly ways to go infinite with this. Interesting, it's only one-sided too. It's like Alarm was 2-sided, which made the card kind of weird. Greenbelt Rampager, there you go. Guide of Souls, there you go. So a lot of combo potential here for sure. Is that good in Modern? I mean, combos are good, right? You know, if you format it to play this thing, win the game, it's kind of sweet. So I don't know, we'll see. Depends on how good the combos are in Constructed, but I don't know. And then Limited, unplayable. Don't play this card in Limited. Propagator Drone, 2 mana for a 2/2 devoid. All of your creature tokens have Evolve, which means that if a creature that is bigger than them will enter the battlefield, they get a counter. 4 mana, make a Scion token with sack creature, add this. This is a phenomenal uncommon. Just really, really powerful. If you're playing a bunch of Scion stuff, this makes all your Scions grow, basically every creature that you cast. That's insane. For a 2 mana creature that also has a mana sink to add more spawn tokens, really, really powerful card. Not much more than a modern than a draft card, but a really powerful draft card at that. Mana sink, good stuff. Very powerful. Signature Slam. 3 mana for an instant. Put a counter on a creature. Then each modified creature you control deals damage equal to its power to our creature you don't control. So again, very powerful draft card. Very been over the whole modified thing. You know, there are tons of cards that give you a benefit for adding a counter to them. And then also just just a fine card, just even without the synergy. So good card. It's the monkeys. If you smell.
Somebody stop the damn man! Enough's enough!
6. Just 6, all alone. This is 6 before Ren got to it. 3 mana for a 2/4 Reach Tree Folk. Whenever it attacks, mill 3 cards. You put a land card among them into your hand. As long as it's your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have Retrace, which means you can play them from your graveyard by discarding a land in addition to the costs. I think this card's kind of sketch. It is a pretty powerful ability, but it's a 3 mana 2/4 that doesn't do anything until you actually like attack with it. Really, you could play it later in the game and like recast your permanents, but like I don't know. I think this card just kind of meh. It's a great limited card, really powerful limited card for sure, but overall, I think this card's too slow for Modern. Just 6. Sowing Myco Spawn. 4 mana for a 3/3 devoid, kicker 2 with a colorless. Or you cast a spell, search the library for a land card, put it in the battlefield, then shuffle. And if you kick it, you get to exile a land. So, interesting card. Obviously, this can search for like an Eldrazi Temple or a Tron land or whatever else it might be. And that comes in untapped. Pretty cool. And then if you kick it, you get to kill their land, which is cool also. So, pretty cool. That being said, I don't know what deck wants like a 4 mana land searcher, like in Modern or whatever. So, I don't know. Obviously, you're playing Eldrazi Temple. It's pretty powerful in that regard. But, I don't know. Card seems Interesting. Great limited card, though, right? 3/3, ramp, and kill a land, maybe. Pretty cool. Spring Art and then Tuku. It's mana for a 1/1. Bestow 2. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 if it's attached to a creature you control. If you do, make a token that's a copy of that creature. If you didn't create a token, make an insect token. That's a lot of words. Okay, so if you play a land, if this is bestowed on a creature, you can pay 2 and get a copy of that creature. That's obviously very powerful. Pretty busted limited card. Constructed wise, really weird. But yeah. If you don't pay, you get a 1/1. Land it under your control. You pay it. So I guess either way, if you just have this in play as a 1/1, you pay land and get a 1/1. That's like not that good or whatever, so sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously a great limited card. I don't think this is I don't know what you would do with this in constructed. If there's some sort of combo, I guess, sure. But really weird card. Great limited card for sure, but I can't parse what this card does in constructed in 10 seconds or whatever, so I don't know. Sylvan Safekeeper. Another invitational card without its original artist, unfortunately. So poor that's the chat for Ollie Raid, right? Blonde-haired Safekeeper. One green, 1/1. This is a reprint. Sack a land, give a creature Shroud on the turn. This card's seen play on and off over the years as a way to protect your creatures in combo decks. Might be a one-of in Yawgmoth or whatever. I imagine it will keep doing that. Being a one-of here and there for decks that want to save their creatures. Simple as that. Limited, not really playable, I don't think. It's just too bad by itself to matter. Like, maybe boarded, it gets like a heavy removal deck, but overall, yeah. Oh, actually, it's funny, yeah. I'm sorry, it can't actually save Yawgmoth, because Yawgmoth has pro-humans. It can save everything else, though. So, if you're playing some sort of creature combo deck, be it whatever else it might be, we've mentioned a bunch of them already, this can save that. But I guess not Yawgmoth, technically. Temperamental Oozewag for a 4/4. 3-mana Adapt 2. Modify creatures you control have Trample. So, good draft common, obviously. 4/4 is fine. Could be a 6/6. 6/6 Trample is pretty good, too. Makes all your big things have Trample. Good draft common. Territory Color. 5 mana for a 7/5 Devoid Reach. That is freaking huge.
Oh my
Landfall.
God.
Whenever a land EDB is under your control, look at a top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you may reveal it, put it into your hand. If you don't put the card in your hand, you may put it in your graveyard. This is just a ridiculous limited card. Like, what's going on here? Like, just a 7/5 reach for 5 with, like, mega upside. Just, like, crazy draft card. Absolutely crazy. Preposterous, almost. Unplayable in constructed, but crazy limited card. The Hunger Tide Rises. 2 mana for a Saga. Make 3 tokens over 3 turns. Then sacrifice any number of creatures. Search your library for a creature card and graveyard. For a mana value less than the number of creatures sacrificed this way and put it on the battlefield. If you search this way, then shuffle. Kind of a cool card, obviously. In limited, this card's pretty sweet. Just like get some tokens. Sack for a bomb. But it's very, very slow. Unplayable and constructed because of how slow it is. There also, like, isn't a lot to do with these tokens in limited. Like, the modified deck doesn't want this. The regular Eldrazi deck doesn't want this. The blue-green ramp deck doesn't really want this. What deck wants this, you know? Like, and that's kind of what happens in limited, where, like, decks want certain things, and if no one wants this, no one wants it. It could be a cool card, but... Thief of Existence. Come to our best in show. And unfortunately, this card is a little hard to cast. This is a green, a colorless, and 1. So you must tap for colorless here. But it is quite the powerful card. 3 mana for a 3/4. Has the Void, obviously. When you cast it, you exile up to 1 target non-creature, non-land, permanent, and opponent controls. Mana value 4 or less. So, the One Ring. Teferi Time Raveler. Planeswalkers. Whatever else. Utopia Sprawl. Blood Moon. I don't know. Whatever else it might be. And that's pretty insane. Really powerful card. If you do this, when it dies, they draw a card. Whatever. You dealt with their card, who cares, you know? So kind of a weird mix between, like, yeah, Thought Knot Seer, but also kind of like a Skyclave apparition. Eldrazi Temple is a big deal. You gotta be able to cast it for colorless. So I'm not sure, like, how many decks can actually play this card. But it is very, very powerful. Great way to deal with stuff. Yeah. Card suite. Again, it might be too narrow. That's my only fear with this card. The power level is definitely there, but, like, the narrowness makes it a little scary because, like, needing that color is pretty tough. But powerful card. Good answer to things. Good limited card, obviously, also. Just on raw sizing. But card suite. Important to note that you cannot company this card. It's whenever you cast. Whenever you cast. So, Trickster's Elk is next. This is a 3-mana 3/3. And you can put this onto a creature by bestowing it, making it a 3/3. That can be a big benefit if you're putting it on a creature that has counters on it. So, for example, there's a creature that has 3+ and counters on it. Put this on it, now it's 6/6. So, pretty powerful card on that side of the ball. And can deal with bombs also. Good card. Good draft card. Plays very well in modified decks. Wirewood Symbiote. Now we're talking about elf cards, right? Forget Priest Titania. Wirewood Symbiote's a big deal. This is a card that made Legacy Elves the deck it is for a long time. Being able to untap your mana dorks as well as untap and bounce your Elvish Visionary and draw cards. That being said, it's still an Orcish Bowmaster world, so it's probably not good enough. But if Elves were to make a resurgence, this is it. This is the card you want. Really, really powerful effect. Unplayable and limited. But if you're an Elf player in Modern, you got a little bit of hope here. Maybe it's a fool's hope, but... Humpus Wumpus Aberration. 4 mana for a 6/6 with Devoid. Whenever you cast a spell, if you didn't play a colorless, they get to play a spell for free. That's obviously a nod to Hunted Wumpas. I would never put this card in my deck if I couldn't play the colorless, but if you can, this is just a 6/6 for 4. And limited, which is great. So, great limited card. Not much more. So, that's it for green. We got Grist, Voracious, Larvae is our sleep... Wait, what? Why was that one first? I had it backwards. What? Our sleeper card is Grist. Our best in show is Thief of Existence. Our trap card, Flare of Cultivation. And Evolution Witness is our Bombin Common. And that is it for green. We're all wrapped up, folks. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitch. We're still going. We got multicolored cards next. Don't go nowhere. Let's go.